Welcome to the You Need More Money podcast. I'm your host, Matt Manero, where I come to you every week from my studio in Dallas, Texas. Stories of grit, just downright mental toughness. How do you stay the course, man, when everything is going against you, when you're just not sure how are you going to make it? Man, that's when the grit kicks in. There is no grit required for most things that people consider to be gritty, especially when it comes to making more money. And I have to say, I think I'm an expert at this. I think I've been through more shit in my 23 years in business than a lot of people. I tell some stories to some successful business guys that I know who started businesses from zero, and they're like, really? You had to go through that? I think the one that freaks them out the most is my IRS story. This is the one that I get looks from gritty people who can't believe that this happened, but it's true. And I'm going to tell it to you today as an example of grit. It was probably 1998 or so, maybe 1999-ish. And I know that sounds like a long time, but man, I remember it like it was yesterday. And we were not doing well. Business sucked. I just couldn't get the business going, man. It was like every dollar that came in went back out. And I did the fatal mistake that some people in business make. And I started to stop paying my 941 payroll taxes. In other words, as an employer, when you have an employee, you have a responsibility to withhold the federal tax, and you have to match 8.25%. And then you have to send that to Uncle Sam. And depending upon how much your withholding is, depends how often you have to do it. But at some levels it's once a week, and some it's once a month, and some it's once a quarter. And I needed that money to keep the doors open. So guess who didn't get paid? That's right, Uncle Sam. The employee got paid, but my responsibility to forward the withholding tax to Uncle Sam didn't. And there are really only two things that people need to understand about taxes when it comes to what cannot go away. So you can get rid of credit card debt and certain types of things through bankruptcy and debt service to bankruptcy, but guess what you can't? Never goes away. Student loans and 941 payroll taxes. It doesn't matter what happens to your ass, Uncle Sam's going to get their money. And they should, because it ain't your money. It's somebody else's money, right? You just didn't push it along. That's why it never goes away. They're going to send you letters. They're going to send you collection letters. Then they're going to send you intent to levy letters. Then they're going to send you levy letters, which means they actually hit your bank account, try to take the money out. But if it's not there, then they're going to come knocking. And I remember the day like it was yesterday. I literally sat down at my desk and said to myself, how could it get any worse? How could it get any worse? The whole situation just seemed hopeless. The business wasn't going anywhere. I had just recently gotten married. I didn't have two nickels to rub together. And all of a sudden, there was a knock at the door at the front of the little office that we were in. And I opened the door, and it turns out that there's a woman sitting there, and she says, my name is Queen Williams, and I represent the Internal Revenue Service, and I'd like to see Matt Manero. I said, I'm Matt Manero. And she said, well, Mr. Manero, we've been trying to get in touch with you for a long, long time, and I'm here to collect money for the Internal Revenue Service. I said, well, come on in, Miss Williams. Now, by the way, interestingly enough, the Internal Revenue Service, the Queen Williams was not her name. They never used their real name. And what was really bizarre about it was Queen Williams had this skin disorder. She was a lovely African-American woman, but she had this blotchy skin with these white patches on it. So it was she had an unusual look to her. And she was so beautiful, but yet with this skin condition, it was just an unusual occurrence. And I'm sure that skin condition threw off a lot of prospects that would come in, and maybe even some people were very disrespectful to her or didn't give her credibility. I'm sure it was something she had to deal with her whole life too. But for me, I was literally tickled pink that she was there because I knew that there was no more hiding for me. I knew that I was going to have to pay the piper, and she was there to help me start paying the piper. So I called her in and I said, I'm very glad you're here. Have a seat. And she sat down and she said, wow, most people never say that to me. And I said, because I'm not most people. I said, I'm going to pay you every single dime I owe you. Every dollar I owe you, I'm going to pay. And she said, great. All I need is a check. I think the number was around $60,000. And I said, I can't give you that check. And she said, I'm here for a check. And I said, I can't give you that check, Miss Williams. I don't have it. But what I can give you is my commitment that if you work out a payment plan with me, I'll pay you every single nickel that I owe you. And I promise you it will be paid on time. And we ended up negotiating a deal right then and there on the spot. I think she gave me 9 months to pay it back. And so, you can figure out the math on that. It was somewhere around $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 a month, I remember. And it was vicious, man. It was just unbelievably vicious to make the money to get it to be able to pay back. But here's my point. Just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, it got worse. And so many times in my 23 years in business, getting this thing off the ground, man, getting this business started, it was example after example where I said, could it get any worse? And it did get worse. Man, that's when the grit kicks in. When your back is to the wall and you're not sure how you're going to get out of this situation, it's just like with fighters. When the fighter's stuck in the corner, you know what the fighter says, right? Punch your way out of the corner. The fighter doesn't say sit in the corner and take shit all fight, get your ass beat. The coach says fight your way out of the corner. That's what you do in the toughest situations, particularly in business. You fight your way out of the corner, man. You freaking don't quit. You don't give up. You keep punching. And I promise you, if you're in the right platform and you're working hard and you're skilling up, and you're building your network, and you're working your balls off every single day to do better, you will fight your way out of that corner, and it will work out. But what I see most of the time in this lack of gritty environment that we're in is people just don't know how to stay the course. Look, remember when your mom said the most important step is the first step? It's just bullshit. It's absolutely not true. The most important step is your 5th step, your 6th step, your 7th step, your 8th step. The ability to stay in the damn fight is the most important step. It is not the first step. The first step when most people go into business is this. I'm going to get business cards made. Doesn't mean anything. I'm going to set up my corporation. Doesn't mean shit. I'm going to spend time writing text and content for my website. Who cares? Dude, what matters in business is, do you have the ability to sell, to generate revenue above and beyond the expenses for a long period of time? That's grit to me. It's the ability to fight when most people have given up. It's the ability to not buy into the bullshit that the simple things that most people do, the first step of starting a business, matter. They don't. None of those things matter. Business cards don't matter. Your website's not even that important unless you're in a business in which lead gen, click funnels, that sort of stuff. But if you're in a business where your website is just purely informational and there's no e-commerce aspect of it, it's just get to know us, nobody cares. Dude, what they care about is, are you going to solve my problem, do it in a timely fashion at a competitive price? The website could just be nice colors. It could be 2, 3, 4 pages. You don't need something big in most businesses. It really frustrates me when people talk to me about the difficulty. I have seen the abyss. I have looked into the darkness countless times in my 23 years in business. And I have tested my grit. And I am happy to say that despite all the pain, I am no longer in the pain side of my business. I'm in the pleasure side, and I have been for a number of years now, and I would do it all over again. And I challenge you that if you've done the test, right, the test of, am I in the right platform? Is there a problem that my business is solving? Do I know how to sell? Am I willing to skill up and stay in the fight and be gritty? It'll be worth it for you. The key is when the grit is tested, think of yourself like a fighter. You're backed up into the corner. The guy's coming at you hard. He's pounding on you. You're starting to get glazed eyes. Your legs are starting to shake. Your knees are starting to buckle. You're not sure that you're going to be able to do it. Remember what I'm telling you here. Fight your way out of the corner. That's how it works. Fight your way out of the corner. I'll see you down the road.
That's our episode this week with your host, Matt Manero. Check us out every Friday at 12 p.m. Central as we discuss money, your life, and how you need more money.